Welcome to the Big Biz Show. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you are watching, wherever you are listening, we welcome you to the Big Biz Show. We're live inside the Loft 100 studios. Up on the stage, of course, is the Day Trader Trio. Somebody's missing because it's their birthday back here at the bar. It's Costa.
Well, he's not missing because it's his birthday. He's missing because...
Okay, all I know is...
I think we all know why.
Yeah.
Christy Castillo, I think we all know why.
Wow. Typhoid Christy.
We're not blaming her, are we?
You're
I'm fine. I'm good.
I got it from you.
Oh, no.
I've been out for 4 days.
Really? And we open the show with our Big Biz Show market analyst with us here at the bar, Howie Font.
And you know what we never say?
What?
You're no. You can't do that. You can't do that. You didn't say it.
Oh, I missed it.
You didn't say A-B-H-O-A-T-Y. A Boney.
There is no God.
So close.
No. Hey, I bet you you all have 401ks. Many of you have 401ks.
Yeah.
And you've heard of this thing called a 401k rollover.
Yes.
I bet there's 2 people here that know what that is.
I do.
You know what it is? What does it mean?
Well, just when you change jobs, you roll over your 401k from
3
your
people.
previous.
Oh, you're going to say yes. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No. When I was laid off from iHeartMedia back in 2020.
The first time.
I rolled over my 401k with my financial advisor, and he put it into something.
There's some mistakes that you can avoid, right, Howie?
I'm sure I made them, so give
No.
it to me.
I think it's pretty hard to make the mistake, or pretty hard to not notice if you made the mistakes, because these are tax-deferred accounts. These are basically wrappers for investments. So we talk about investing in ETFs or the S&P 500, but the broader market, whatever. This is the type of account is what we're talking about here with 401ks, and these are retirement assets. A traditional 401k, traditional IRA, means you don't pay taxes on the assets, it grows, and then you pay taxes at the end. There's also
end when you are of age and you start taking.
When you take distributions, you pay taxes like it's income tax.
Got it.
And you can start doing that at 59.5, I think, and then you are forced to take them. They have required minimum distributions after 75.
Oh.
So yeah.
However,
Yeah.
there's something to the minute you said take taxes out when you take the distribution after.
Yeah.
There's a 400-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah.
That's the Roth IRA.
That's the Roth IRA.
Now, do you know what a Roth IRA is?
I think I have one.
Well, I maintain there's 2 sides to that coin. I certainly like the pain. Bad news is best served early. Mm-hmm. Revenge is best served cold.
Yes.
I would rather pay my taxes early on stuff
Like now,
this.
when you get the money, pay it now.
Talk about that.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I did the same thing. The other type, we call that what I just described, a traditional retirement account, a traditional IRA, a traditional 401k. A Roth is when you pay the taxes when you put the money into the account. So you take $1,000 that you're going to put in your Roth IRA, you pay taxes on it, 50% for the communist state of California.
The failed republic.
And then you put $500 into the account, and then you never pay taxes again on that $500.
Yeah.
Can you still add money to it though as you go, or is it just a one-time?
You have to pay taxes as you go, though, don't you, Howie?
You pay taxes on all money. Roth contributions are post-tax money.
Okay.
You can only use a Roth IRA if your income is below a certain level that goes up with inflation. So I think right now it's close to $150,000.
Yeah, let's continue talking about this because there's cautious. You have to be cautious about.
There's lots of mistakes when you move it, like you were saying, that I want to make sure.
Well, they're called back-end Roth contributions, so we've got to really be careful. Let's take a quick break and come back, but I want to talk about this because this is really important. Mistakes to avoid with your retirement accounts when you're rolling over Roth IRAs, and especially when you're opening up. There's a lot of flux going on. A lot of people going into their own businesses now. Doesn't mean you have to lose your 401k. It means you have to maybe recalculate it and maybe reconnoiter what you're going to have as a vehicle. But more talk on Roth for sure.
All right, much more to come. A big old howdy to you as the Big Biz Show.
Too late.
Get it in there.
you're watching, wherever you're listening, we appreciate you being along for the ride. That's the Day Trader Trio. Best in the business, no less than self-taught, back here at the bar.
There we go.
Costa, Howie Font, Mary Godwin, and Sully.
Howie, you're there's some you have to have caution here when dealing with cross IRAs and so on and so forth.
It's an IRS process. There's loopholes, there's rules you have to follow, and I just want to make sure people know them. So if you change jobs, or if you want to move from one bank to another, typically, this is what most people do. Sometimes you can do it all automated, but this is still a paper process. So I'm at Bank A, I want to move to Bank B. I open up the account I want with Bank B, an IRA rollover account or a Roth IRA rollover. You go to Bank A, you open up the account at Bank B first. That's the best way to do it. Then you go to Bank A and say, I'm rolling it over, give me a check.
Yes.
And they hand you a check they liquidate everything in your account, and they give you a check. You have to pay extra for it to come expeditiously. And then a clock starts. The moment you liquidate, you got 60 days. And if you don't get it in and have your stuff together with Bank B, then the IRS says, no, you just pulled that out early. You have to pay taxes on it. You have to pay penalties. I mean, that's a really unforgiving
And the penalties
thing.
are so great where you're like, oh my God.
They take almost...
If you're under 59 and a half, it's like 10%, isn't it?
Yeah, you pay all the taxes you would have paid as if it was in a taxable account, short-term, long-term capital gains, all that, and then you put the 10% penalty on. It can be punitive. You're like, yeah.
Well, and there's no negotiating that. It's not like dealing with an IRS bill.
No.
I mean, you have an
by the way,
IRS bill,
61 days, nothing you can do.
Yeah, you can negotiate your bill.
Yeah.
You can't negotiate things like this. And is there any sunset provision or sundown provision on this in terms of not being able to use Roth as an IRA? Because it had to be kicked down the road a couple of times when they first introduced it. And I think it expires here sometime 2030 or something like that.
They keep changing the rules, so especially with the so-called backdoor IRA. So what I did was when I was at a large bank, I had a 401k plan. And I put a higher than normal proportion of that in Roth because that's the bet I made. I wanted less money today and more money later is my bet.
Right.
I'm betting on where tax rates are going to be, and
you're also betting on having on being able to fear thing first, right? Get the pain out of the way now.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So when I moved it into an IRA, a rollover IRA, I didn't move my traditional into a traditional rollover account. I moved it into a Roth, and I paid taxes on my 401k, and now all that money is in a Roth account. That matters because you can do that no matter what your income level is, right? So you can only contribute annually about $7,000.
Yeah, but you can avoid fees and taxes by playing it correctly. Speaking of fees,
yeah.
I know you don't pay attention to fees. Most people don't pay attention to fees because they seem so nominal. But after a while, they're not nominal, and it digs into. It's almost like interest rates on your credit cards versus trying to invest in the stock market when you've got interest rates on your credit cards. It's not nominal anymore. Talk about the fee part of it.
Well, the problem with investment fees is that you want compound interest to work for you as much as possible. So when you pay a fee on something that's continuously growing like this, what it means is you're not taking away, if you have a $100 retirement account, the fee is 1/4%, so 25 cents. That's not just 25 cents they're doing this year. That 25 cents was going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So they've taken from your future earnings something like, $4 when you're.
How dare they?
Yeah. Well, 4%. I mean, something that was 1/4% becomes 4% of your entire account. Yeah, it really matters, and you need every dollar you can because that dollar creates more dollars, and so on. And so you have to get in as low fee products as possible if you want to just ride the market.
Can we talk about self-employed people? People that are self-employed. I know a lot of people have a 401k. They're gonna start their own business.
Yep.
What happens then, and how do they commence?
They basically have to follow the same rules. There's a couple things that the IRS allows called simple IRAs, which is kind of like a 401k plan for a very small business. And then when you get to a certain size, there's defined benefit plans, defined distribution plans. Basically, when you're a business owner, there's some things you can do to park more money in retirement accounts via those plans. So the limits just become higher. There's some rules you have to follow, but I would suggest small business owners over, say, $10 million in revenue need to talk to.
If you are Cindy CEO and you're an employee of a company,
yeah,
and you are no longer the employee of the company anymore,
yeah,
and you do nothing,
yeah,
what happens?
If you do nothing, your employer hires a manager for their 401k assets.
Benefits administrator.
Yep, that benefits administrator will continue to admin your accounts. I could have just left it at the bank I worked at.
Mr. Font, I have a question. Is it, I picture
Wait, did you do your homework from last time?
No, hell no. Not a chance.
No way.
I picture him on the day he was born, his mom holding him up, and he already has a pocket protector and a calculator in his hand.
Totally.
Is it still prudent to make the biggest contribution each month you can to your 401k?
Yeah, I mean, that's a personal finance question, but the answer is yes, if you can afford it. Again, the normal steps: make sure you've paid off all your debt, make sure you have an emergency fund.
Yeah.
I would do retirement account investing before I do taxable account investing. So in
other words, don't work on your tax strategy until you have a walnut that you're trying to grow into a tree.
If your employer has a 401k match, you should definitely do at least a match.
It's free money.
Totally.
Yep. These are all good rules.
When you talk to people that have a 401k and an IRA, I get this question all the time, and I avoid personal finance questions like the plague because I don't want to ever give somebody bad advice. I get a question all the time: if I have a 401k, why do I need an IRA? If I have an IRA, why do you need a 401k? It's actually a great question, but explain it.
Well, you have huge restrictions. The 401k plan administrator that you talked about, Sully, basically tells you what you're allowed to invest in. You can invest in a couple different mutual funds.
Yep.
And one of the innovation for them is I can say I don't want any tobacco companies, or I want it to be all ESG. That's the new innovation of the last 5 years. That's all you can do. In your IRA account, you can trade it like you can trade your tax. I mean, you can get stock tips from Sully, get rich. I play with it a little bit. I manage it myself, my IRA account. Mm-hmm. But the 401k is a plan that you're not really allowed to that is kind of automatic. Is the big thing.
And of course,
and fees.
And of course, we talk about individual stocks here, and we talk about dollar cost averaging. That is the last thing. That's the last step. After you've got some savings put away, after you paid off your credit cards, after you start investing, then you can start day trading a little bit. And look, at day trading doesn't necessarily have to mean looking at high frequency trading and you're actually sitting in front of a computer all day. But if you got a couple bucks, you want to try to do an individual stocks. But I have more people say, hey, I just made $6 on Apple. Well, how do you know? Because you shouldn't know. You shouldn't know what you made on Apple because it's part of your portfolio in a 401k anyway.
Yep.
Is that what people are doing on Robinhood, day trading?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. For young, are people of all generations on the app? I just keep hearing about it.
I love
It's
Robinhood.
growing tremendous. It's in the S&P 500. There are lots of great things about Robinhood as a business, but it does encourage people to buy single stocks, which is something I don't think you should do until you've done everything we've talked about.
Exactly.
And I think you should have, before you start single stock investing, you should have at least $10,000, say, in one of the ETFs one of the indexes we talk about.
Yeah, because why are you picking?
Yeah.
So let's say that you've got your $2,000 cash under the mattress, and I would suggest everyone have $2,000 cash, not in your checking account, because if 9/11 happens again, you can't do the ATM. Cash is gonna be like water.
Yep.
Seriously, it's going to be a commodity at that point. So you need cash. You need to have some expense in the bank. You got to have your credit cards paid down. I don't mind people have a car payment because they got to get to work. I don't mind people have a mortgage payment. Those are the only two long-term loans I sort of accept. Yep. But once you start investing and getting into it, before you start day trading, go buy QQQ, SPY, and one of the dogs of the Dow.
Yep.
So you have the three exchange-traded funds, or the three indices covered. And then you can start talking about, hey, I got this hydroponic thing. Mike Costa's tequila factory is going to grow marijuana out of it. It's going to be big. Yep. And one thing I want to say, and this is for Mary's sake, and the reason is because you're the only one that has a conscience here other than Howie, and maybe the band is somewhat. I'm sure Brian does a little bit.
Don't speak for
Mark,
me, okay?
Me and Trace are the same. No, honestly though, I don't have a problem with how our regulatory system works. I think that our regulators are involved with overall doing good for the
Big government Sully over here.
No, not big government Sully. I'm just saying I trust the regulatory issue. What I don't trust is that my fund managers are going to put my money into everything that I agree with. If you're a vegan, I guarantee you still own a piece of a beef factory. Okay?
You mentioned that before, and that's been haunting me,
if you're a meat
actually.
eater, I promise you own some Oatly stock and oat milk.
Well, they're investing in everything. That's what diversification means. I mean,
so if you want to go into the weeds, how do you go into the weeds and look at that? Like, let's say
I don't want to know.
Like, no, you do. Let's say you have a mainstay. Let's say you have a Vanguard mainstay fund or something like that. How do you go in and dig in and figure out? Because what you see on those lists are International Money Fund, 16%.
Yeah.
A small cap Russell 2000, 14%. How do you dig into this?
it's harder if you do it yourself. Like I said, for 401ks and for what's called target date funds, you can kind of check boxes and they'll find a fund for you. But you have to go research on Vanguard's website, basically, and put filters and say, no tobacco,
you own
no
Tesla
defense.
without knowing it.
Yeah, I really
totally
need to
do.
think about this. I don't.
You own Tesla, and you also own probably a little bit of Trump Tower.
Who does?
All right, keep it here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this. In over 175 countries, all the ships at sea, you can hear us on the American Forces Radio Network. And as always, we say a special thank you to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces. We also say thank you to the Day Trader Trio right there, ripping it up as usual back here at the bar. It is Costa, it's Marybird Godwin, and of course, it is Sully.
Great to have you on today. I invited back Jennifer Ernst, co-founder and CEO of Tivic Health again.
She's awesome.
For a couple reasons. Number one, Mary has so many questions for her still. And then also, if you look at some of the news on Tivic, you'll find out that these guys are really a late-stage immunotherapeutics company, but only recently late stage. So I want to talk about that a little bit, and we have her back. Welcome, Mike.
Jennifer Ernst, co-founder and CEO, Tivic Health, ticker symbol is TIVC, and she's also got a second career coming if she wants it in books on tape. I mean, her voice is awesome.
I agree.
Every time we talk with her. Jennifer, how are you? Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I'll take that gig sometime. I always figured I hated my voice, but I think everybody does.
It's really good.
And she didn't promise, but I forced her into saying, to coming into San Diego at some point and spending it on the air.
I will.
Jennifer, nice to see you. Talk about when you say recently late stage. Is I just kind of preamble there? How'd that come about?
It's not everyone that gets the opportunity to wake up one morning and say, "Oh gosh, I'm the CEO of a phase 3 late stage biopharma company," without having done all the pre-work before it. So Tivic, actually, interesting story for the audience. We're a company in transformation, and this just started in February of this year. So in February of this year, got a great opportunity to in-license an asset from an over-the-counter company that already had significant clinical trials done, over 40 trials, is in what is considered phase 3. Basically, all of the animal studies, and there are limited human studies for this first indication. So basically, all the clinical study work has been done on it, and we went from licensing directly into kicking off a manufacturing process. In fact, last week announced that we had just done first cell validation with the newly licensed lines. So basically overnight went from being a company, we have some early stage work in immunotherapeutics, but overnight turned into a company with a phase 3 asset.
I think what's interesting about this is because of the state of the biopharma, biotech that we've talked about here on the show, as you guys have heard me say ad nauseum, in 2022 and 2023, we had an abysmal sort of time raising capital in the biotech space. 2024 comes out. JP Morgan at their conference says, this is the year, but you're not going to be able to raise money until second quarter. And sure enough, you could raise money second quarter last year, and then it dried up again. This seems to be a renaissance of the biopharma. At least it seems like there's a light at the end of the tunnel now. And this is one of the reasons why, right?
It is. One of the things I saw when I started looking at the space was the number of assets that were available that just couldn't make it to market in that time frame. This was one of those. It was had been developed, an early company that had it, ran out of money. The next company ended up on the OTC and was looking for a NASDAQ partner to take it forward. So all the pieces fit. And for us, it's great timing. It means at the moment a bit of an undiscovered asset, undiscovered company in the biopharma space, but being able to enter it with a late stage therapy, with a late stage therapeutic that has some pretty strong indications both in the military defense applications as a military countermeasure, and also in the civilian population for oncology treatments. So some really high opportunity markets, both in the short term for biopharma, as well as in the more robust portfolio as a whole.
Jennifer Ernst is the co-founder and CEO of Tivic Health, their ticker symbol TIVC. We're in over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Radio Network. And what does this mean for our service personnel?
Right. So at the moment, this is we're working with BARDA. We're working originally DoD. BARDA all funded the development at the predecessor. We're now working with them very closely to bring this to market in the most expedient pathway we possibly can. We've gotten very good listening. I think everyone has been very excited to have somebody picking this drug up. The American Armed Forces Radiological Research Institute, one of their senior people, told me during my review process that this is the drug that he wants to have available to the service personnel. And this is for 200,000. We're talking about large numbers of doses needing to be available in the field and in the national stockpile. So both treating the when we have personnel in field, having protective measures available for them, and also then in response to potential disaster situations.
And Jennifer, I'm sorry to cut you off, but is this something that they can take beforehand, or do they have to have been shown, hey, you've been exposed to radiation, you've got this now in your body, here, take the drug?
So that's what we're working towards.
Okay.
That's all about what the FDA will allow us to say.
Okay.
So the first trials were done as a protective what they call a mitigant. After you've been exposed within a certain amount of time, it'll mitigate the effects.
Okay.
The other part, though, which was really interesting about this particular compound, is that it has, in the studies that have been done, shown promise to have a protective effect. You could take it in advance. So if there's a high-risk situation, take it in advance and help protect.
Amazing.
That's where we want to get this. I mean, that's first stage. We got to get its first stage is an injection. So I don't know that everybody's going to be carrying around a cooled injection in their pocket, but eventually we want to get this to an oral formulation to be able to have something that can actually be in field with our personnel.
Listen, if it's in the field, medical field, if it's in the military field, in the theater of battle, I mean, it seems like an EpiPen solution at the same time, correct? Before I let you out of here, talk about the rest of us, applications beyond military, because this is exciting. I mean, again, we started this conversation by talking about the NDA, new drug application, in our pathway to commercialization. This is not like a 7-year play here now. This is closer to a 2-year, 1 year, 3 year. But I mean, it's.
I'd say two to three years. There is a 1-year process or so at the FDA. Although for acute radiation syndrome, we already have a fast track through that, so that can accelerate the FDA process. They do require 1 year of stability testing, so there is stability testing we need to do on the manufactured products. But no, this is not a long horizon. This is 2 to 3 years to get into application in actual use approval. The next stage, though, the other area that I'll be working on and we'll be starting to work towards, I hope, next year, is the uses of this in oncology. So we all know, we're talking about the life-threatening aspects of radiation when it is extremely high doses. But the dosing of radiation for treatment of cancer, it's standard of care. Virtually every cancer patient goes through it and experiences the same problem. The cell degradation, the bone marrow starts to degenerate, you get opportunistic infections because your immune system isn't producing enough white blood cells. So if we can provide the same things I'm talking about for the ARS field, in the field of oncology, where we can help mitigate the effects of the radiation in both the bone marrow and the GI tract. There's nothing today for the GI tract degradation. So when you see, when you experience the side effect of radiation, and it's about, I can't, no matter how much I eat, I can't ingest the nutrients.
Sure.
And that's where you see the wasting syndrome and so many of the side effects of the treatment that are just almost as bad as the cancer itself. So what we're looking to do with the oncology field then is to move a program forward that would seek approval on neutropenia and on the basically the degradation of the GI tract and the several syndromes that are associated with that. Eventually, I'd love to see this as a protective measure given before the radiation. Just like we were talking about for in-field use, I would love to see this used in our medical care system as a protection for the patient before they undergo the radiation.
Look for her face soon on the new $150 bill. Jennifer Ernst, co-founder, CEO, Tivic Health, ticker symbol TIVC. Jen, can't wait to get you back on soon. All right, keep it here. Speaking of soon, lots more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
It is the Big Biz Show. We are coming to you live from sunny Southern California. Although we've been cabin-like kind of East Coast weather. We're inside the Loft 100 Studios. That is the Day Trader Trio, DTT. You get to hear them every single day back here at the bar. It is Costa, it is Mary Bird Godwin, and it is Sully. Hey.
Gas. Are you driving? You're driving the Jeep up. What are you taking?
Well, my ex has a truck, so we're gonna put all of Lily's stuff in the truck, and
it's college moving. How exciting for her!
She's so excited.
She's like, rush. She wants you to move in on Thursday tonight, so she can have the whole weekend to herself.
I know.
Right?
I mean, she was like, maybe we'll go to lunch after. And like, no, you're gonna want me to get fast.
Well, the great part of it now is they have move-in committees that meet you there.
So awesome.
Super fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's on the second floor with no elevator though, so that's going to be good.
Can I ask you this? Yeah. Does she know her roommates or roommate already?
We know the roommates. I know the parents of the roommates already.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're friends. They're on the dance team together, and she already has friends there because the dance team. She's been going up there every weekend for the last few weeks, so she knows people.
We won't say the university for Mary's privacy, but Mary had a lot of friends there too.
I did. I had a lot of friends. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Moving on.
Get your gas
so did Brian. Brian was there same time as me.
We love.
He remembers.
We love when this guy comes on.
He was on stage at one of the sorority
watching me at the sorority party. Oh God.
Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. PatrickDeHaan.com, GasBuddy.com. He always comes on and tells us how great we have it here in California as far as gas is concerned.
Patrick, how long have you been with GasBuddy?
Always the good news. Over 15 years now.
I was going to say
closer to 20.
Because you've been a guest of ours for over 15 years. When we were just on radio, I think. When we got into television shortly thereafter. Interesting stuff. Hey, talk about gas prices and tax increases, and we can pull up the gas price temperature map from GasBuddy.com here momentarily.
The red.
But when can we expect another tax increase on gasoline? Because that's the next money grab coming.
Yeah, I feel like you always invite me when it's great news for Californians. The prices are going up and up. I mean, you can see the map over my shoulder here. California, along with the West Coast, is beat red. But Something new to add into the conversation, something that developed here in the last couple of weeks is California now, and this has been in process for a little while. California's guardrails on its refineries have been closing in. And the first refinery in California now, the Phillips 66 refinery in Los Angeles, has begun the permanent shutdown process. And that's not going to be great news for months and years ahead. In fact, the state is warning that October, November could bring supply challenges coupled with normal maintenance. This refinery shutting down. By the way, this refinery produces just under 10% of the state's total amount of gasoline, and it's going completely away. So hate to be pessimistic, but a little bit of sticker shock could happen in a couple months.
So my question is as is always the case, the geniuses that decide now is the time to shut down a refinery. Isn't there some sort of analysis done to determine, because you've got, summer blend here in California, whatever the hell that is.
Delicious.
When it's usually an increase in gas prices just when people are starting to vacation.
Yeah.
Now, people are actually driving to put their kids into college, we're going to shut down a refinery. What is the impetus for a shutdown or a refit or what? Because we seem to be talking about this at least 3 times a year.
Yeah, it's like the pumpkin spice latte of gasoline. It doesn't taste any better for your car, but
Yum.
It's something that the Air Resources Board requires. And when we get into the colder months now, California is not mandated by EPA. It's the Air Resources Board. California is the last to change over to cheaper winter gasoline. It happens either at the end of September or the end of October if you're in southern areas. But the blend holds significant potential for relief. Winter gasoline is easier to produce, although California, you still have your own version. It's not coming for a little bit, but to your point about shutting down a refinery, refineries have been getting basically tired of having to deal with California. Like I mentioned, the guardrails have been closing in. You have transparency acts, you have profit caps that the state's talked about. It's kind of a hostile environment for refineries, and they're basically throwing in the towel and saying, well, all right, we can't even operate the refineries the way we need to. We're out. And that's what's happening. This refinery is not being shut down because, without a refinery, these companies are not profitable if they shut down their refineries, but they feel like they have to do it out of necessity because California is getting so involved in how these refineries operate that they really can't make business decisions without Big Brother saying okay, and they're kind of tired of it.
Patrick DeHaan is the head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. GasBuddy.com is a website if you want to go and make yourself feel really sad on any given day. Patrick, so this refinery closes down. Where does that gas then come from as far as we're concerned here in California?
Well, it comes from potentially as far away as Southeast Asia. Now, there's still going to be about 10 refineries in the state of California, even after the shutdown. But, true to politicians, they like to push you to the limits. And now, only after it's too late from this refinery starting the shutdown process, now the California Energy Commission, now the governor is saying, okay, we may have gotten too far. Like, do you think? And now California is talking about potentially increasing its ability to produce its own oil. So The other thing that's really interesting is California is in talks with Valero to keep the next refinery that would close next spring online. The state finally realizing the writing is on the wall. This is not going to be the way California wants to go, but it's a little too late for that now.
Yeah. I think what's interesting here is to realize that when you get a tax, we have a federal excise tax here in California on tires and on rubber. Do you know when the federal excise tax was put into effect?
World War II, right?
Yes, exactly. It was a tariff, so to speak, on the public for using rubber that we needed so desperately for the military. These taxes that we're seeing in California, Patrick, we're never going to see them go away, are we? And the environmental on top of it, what are we up to? 88 cents, 93 cents extra a gallon right now in California for both taxes and environmental?
You're getting close to that, right? The only thing, death and taxes, and the only thing really, to be more specific, is not decreasing or stable taxes, it's increasing taxes. So to your point, that's really been the California story here over the last 10 or 15 years, why California is so much higher than everyone else. In addition to taxes that now equate to 90 cents a gallon, you still have a cap and trade program. You still have your own rules and regulations. All of this is kind of like a multi-layer, I would say it's a cake, but it's a disgusting cake of increased taxes. All of that is why California continues to lead the nation. But also really fascinating is California briefly in the last week lost its title of the most expensive state. You temporarily handed that crown to Washington State. who interestingly enough is trying to duplicate California's high taxes. They too implemented a cap and invest program, but they're dealing with some refinery outages there. So maybe a little good news is you didn't hold the title of nation's pricing gasoline every day of the year.
We're number 2. We're number 2.
We're not the state.
That's right.
We're the state 2 states away from the state.
Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis, GasBuddy. Go to the website, gasbuddy.com. All right, much more to come here. Keep it right here. Big Biz Show rolls on right after this.
Makes you want to get an EV, doesn't it?
EV.
Welcome to Loft 100 Studios, San Diego's Emmy Award-winning production studio, creative hub, and unique private or corporate event space. Host your next corporate or special event in our spacious main room. Utilize a green screen or our 3 million LED lights video wall to create the newest upcoming sales video, or record that podcast or YouTube show that you've been wanting to make happen. Take your creative endeavor to the next level at Loft 100 Studios. Scan the QR code or go to loft100studios.com to book a tour.
Big Biz Show continues. If you're wondering where we are inside the Loft 100 Studios in beautiful, sunny Southern California. Thanks everybody for being along for the ride. That's the Day Trader Trio. They're always along for the ride. And of course, back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Bird Godwin, and it is Sully.
I'm excited to talk to our next guest. Our next guest was a regular a long time. Good guy, really good guy, and a really interesting company.
He is Dr. Waqas Al-Siddiq. He is the CEO and founder of Biotech Incorporated. Their ticker symbol is BTCY, and we welcome him back to the Big Biz Show. Doctor, it is great to have you on. Welcome back after a long, long hiatus.
Hey, nice to see you again.
Good to see you. Hey, catch us up on the business of saving lives, because that's what you call it, and you always called it that. And I thought that was the best part about a biopharma biotech company is that's in the space. And you guys really are a technology company, also. Talk about that.
Yeah, no, we've been growing really well. We've now expanded. We're in about 35 states now, servicing 2,500 cardiologists, doing about a couple 100,000 lives a year, and helping them, avoid heart attacks, helping them avoid strokes. We've also gone in and launched a consumer product, which is now available on Amazon, so people can get that and actually manage their heart condition after they've been diagnosed, or if they feel that they have an issue. So, there's a big push on longevity, so we're trying to make clinical technology accessible to everybody.
You talk about what 20 million adults live in the U.S. Are struggling to afford health care. And you're sort of decentralizing it with the device on Amazon. I mean, that's the first thing I thought, and that's only a piece of the puzzle here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've essentially, democratized and provided access. I mean, one of the big things is that in healthcare, there's been a push to services, where people are providing services, and what they're essentially doing is they're taking dollars away from hospitals, dollars away from clinics. So when you have that 3-month waiting list to see a cardiologist, it's because the approach in the marketplace has been to provide a service. And what we've done at Biotech is we're saying, okay, let's be an enabler, right? Let's enable everybody. Let's enable the consumer. Let's enable the doctor. Let's enable the hospital. And so we're putting dollars back into the hospital system. We're putting dollars back into the clinic so that they can service more patients. And then we said, well, we're not going to stop there. We're going to take that technology and make it available for the consumer as well.
Dr. Waqas Al-Siddiq is the CEO and founder of Biotech Incorporated, ticker symbol BTCY. Doctor, talk about the HeartSecure device and the in-home test that people can easily get hold of and easily do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we recognized were that people would start calling us and they said, can we get access to your technology? And we're like, well, it's prescription based. So, you know, see if there's a doctor near you. And some of these patients are rural, right? They don't have access, or the wait list is 3 months. We just had a recent person that called in and they wanted access to the technology because they were going to go in for heart surgery and they wanted a secondary check afterwards. So, you know, one of the things is that you can go to your primary care, you can get a referral. And so what we did was we created Heart Secure, so anybody can order it. We've got a cardiologist on staff. They will prescribe it, and you can pay for it for less than what you're going to pay for your copay, and the cost it'll take you to go through, you know, multiple channels to get that report. So providing that accessible for private pay opportunities, but also, you know, go to your cardiologist and get an insurance reimbursed. So we're trying to service everybody, and really it's in response to the demand that's coming in.
Absolutely.
Doctor, can you tell me, how is the device? You wear it around your chest, you wear it on your body. How does it work at home when you use it?
Yeah, great question. So, you know, a lot of people talk about the Apple Watch. To get your ECG, you have to go across the heart. And so our device sits right on top of the heart. That's why if you try to use one of those smart watches, you actually have to hold the watch. And most issues happen while you're sleeping. So for a consumer product, we have a wearable strap that you'd wear underneath your shirt. If it's a diagnosed product like Heart Secure, you're going to wear it right on top of your chest, and it's got 3 little stickies that you wear. And if you want to, like I said, long-term use, you're going to use it as a strap, so there's no stickiness. And you know, that's the 2 modalities that we've created. One, to support long-term care, because cardiac disease is progression, right? It's a progressive disease. And for those who are just using for diagnosis from a cardiologist, or for 5 days, they can just wear the monitor and then return it.
So don't think of my Apple Watch as my cardiologist, is what you're trying to tell me.
And who are the people?
No, I mean, it'll recommend you to go to a doctor, and then they'll use a device like ours, right? So the question is, it's a stopgap, right? It's great for awareness, but ultimately you need something that's clinical, and that's why we're always trying to deliver, and that's why we grow every year.
That's amazing.
There are times when I think, oh gosh, what's that pain? Oh God, what did I feel?
Oh, my left arm's numb.
Such a hypochondriac. So to avoid that,
it's not the professionals I'm concerned with; it's the experts. And and the minute you try to self-diagnose, you go to WebMD.
Can I have one just to have at home?
And suddenly you've got Lou Gehrig's disease or pancreatic cancer.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the top 2. So how do you avoid that sort of misdiagnosis by going to the University of Google or Perplexity.com and figuring that out? I mean, obviously, there's plenty of disclaimers on to go to a doctor, but your stuff's pretty foolproof, and it always has been.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's what we've been trying. You know, now you got ChatGPT, which is like, you know, everybody's personal MD. You know, I think that creating the access is what we try to solve, right? And we're bringing in the clinical people that review the data. So at least you have something to act upon, right? So if you really are worried about it, or you got that numbness and you're saying, hey, you know what, my loved one had a cardiac issue recently, so it makes you, you know, go online and look, and you're like, oh my God, I have these symptoms. Well, before, you'd have to go to your primary care provider, request a cardiac study, wait 3 months and do it, versus, hey, you can go online and you can either order our monitor off of Amazon, or you can order the clinical report from Heart Secure, and it gets delivered to you, and you can at least get a cardiologist review. So you skip the line, but at least you can do something about it.
Hey, well, Costa, are you focusing on wearables, or are you focusing on the med industry, or both? Or is that a yes to both of these things?
Good question. I would say that our primary focus is really the healthcare providers, right? The hospital healthcare providers, the cardiologists, and the providers. What then happens is that, you know, there's an access problem. There's not enough cardiologists, right? You've got 20 million Americans diagnosed. You got 70 million at risk. You got 33,000 cardiologists. It's just not a sustainable model. And so we've created the wearable market, and we've created the access point, but it's not our focus. It's there because in response to inbound interest, we've made it available to everybody. but it's not something that we're pushing as a company. Where if we had to spend our marketing dollars, where do we spend them? We spend them on capturing the clinical market and the hospital market, because we know that those patients are the sick ones that really need it.
Yeah, right.
And for everybody else, it's available.
Well, and the point is that even though it is a global wearables market of about $85 billion, you get a lot of traffic there too. And a lot of that's not only Fitbit and Whoop and Oura rings, but it's also a T-shirt that'll measure how much perspiration you have and your acidic base on what you're eating, so on and so forth. Well, Costa, we got to get you in San Diego. I'd love to have you in studio at some point. We can teach for a whole hour. I hope we get to have you more on the air.
Dr. Waqas Al-Siddiq is the CEO, founder of Biotech Incorporated. Their ticker symbol, BTCY. Yes, you will see a lot more of him on this show.